The American military was built on a singular, expensive promise: shock and awe. For decades, the Pentagon has operated under the Golden Hammer doctrine, the belief that a few ultra-expensive high-tech platforms can shatter the will of any adversary in hours. But in 2026, the hammer is hitting a cloud of gnats. The obsession with prestige and exquisite technology has created a superpower that is terrifyingly powerful, yet economically fragile. The question is no longer who has the best plane, but who has the most expendable ones. Washington's pride is anchored in the F-35 Lightning II and the Gerald R. Ford-class carrier. These are marvels of engineering, costing nearly $100 million and $13 billion, respectively. But these are legacy investments, monuments to a time when quality was the only metric. In the cold math of modern warfare, these exquisite platforms are becoming liabilities. To the military-industrial complex, a cheap drone is a threat to the profit margin. To a frontline soldier, it is the only thing that matters. The battlefields of Ukraine and the Red Sea have delivered a brutal reality check. A $500 FPV drone can disable a $10 million main battle tank. A $20,000 loitering munition can force a $2 billion destroyer to expend a $2 million missile just to survive. This is the math of bankruptcy. The United States is currently using silver bullets to shoot at plastic flies, and the cost curve is unsustainable. The shock and awe era did not account for a world where lethality is democratized and mass-produced. There is a cultural resistance deep within the Pentagon. The Top Gun romanticism, the cult of the human pilot, is a barrier to evolution. While China and smaller regional powers embrace the cold efficiency of autonomous swarms, the U.S. Air Force struggles to let go of the cockpit. Admitting that $1,000, $50,000 drones are more effective than $100 million jet is a psychological defeat for a service built on aerial prestige. Pride is the first casualty of an attrition war. To save face, the Pentagon launched the Replicator initiative. The promise? Thousands of cheap autonomous systems produced in months, not decades. But can a nation that takes 20 years to develop a single fighter jet suddenly adopt the agility of a startup? The American procurement system is designed for luxury, not volume. While D.C. writes white papers en masse, the workshop of the world across the Pacific is already printing the hardware. Replicator is a step forward, but it may be too little, too late. The core of the problem is industrial capacity. America has optimized itself for high-end craftsmanship. It builds the best, most complex weapons in human history, but it cannot build them fast. In a high-intensity conflict against a peer adversary, the U.S. will run out of its exquisite munitions in weeks. Meanwhile, an opponent focused on good-enough drones produced by the millions will simply wait for the American quiver to run empty. Quantity has a quality all its own, and America has forgotten to count. The current American strategy is the high-low mix, trying to have it both ways. They want the B-21 Raider to kick down the door and the Collaborative Combat Aircraft, CCA drones, to follow. But even America's cheap drones are becoming expensive. A CCA drone is projected to cost up to $30 million, hardly expendable by global standards. The U.S. definition of low cost is another nation's strategic asset. The U.S. is still gold-plating its drones, unable to escape the trap of over-engineering. Shock and awe was a doctrine for a unipolar world against inferior foes. It fails in a multipolar world against an industrial titan. If the U.S. refuses to shift from its exquisite legacy, it risks entering a conflict where its multi-billion-dollar carrier groups are swarmed into irrelevance by systems that cost less than the fuel in their tanks. The prestige of the American military is becoming its greatest vulnerability. A shark cannot survive 1,000 piranha bites. In 2026, the simulation is clear. The era of the single invincible platform is over. The future belongs to the side that can lose 1,000 machines and keep fighting. If America remains obsessed with its golden hammer, it will find itself in a war where it is simply out-replicated and outspent. This is not just a change in technology, it is a change in the soul of warfare. The sunset of the pilot is here. Subscribe to Strategic Forecast for the next tactical audit.